So in the face of massive drop-off in consumer interest despite an insanely bloated advertising campaign, not to mention the complete lack of their ability to make a profit in the mobile space despite being the #1 global smartphone vendor due to said inflated marketing campaign, Samsung finally figures out its problem that consumers and pundits have made mention of since the very beginning. They absolutely suck at software. Citing an anonymous source, Samsung has a relative lack of software engineering experience, especially after years of selling, quote, boxes. Yeah, I think it's putting a little bit lightly there, Sammy. From the very beginning, TouchWiz has been the single biggest source of contention with your mobile offerings, from bogging down the performance of your devices with its bloated memory footprint to host every useless feature except for the kitchen fucking sink, then mask the doggedness by artificially inflating benchmark scores by having your devices overclock during tests, to having an insane amount of duplicate services on your devices to compete with Android's built-in and frankly better products, to the absolute garish sense of design that just won't die, and you have to wonder why Samsung continues to even bother. Now don't get me wrong, the Galaxy S6 and Note 5 was a step in the right direction in terms of software, but when I have 2 internet browsers, 2 music players, 2 music streaming services, 2 app stores, 2 calendar apps, and more on my Note 5 that I can't uninstall, like, how is something this moronic even allowed out the door? Is Samsung so desperate for a piece of the mobile software pie that they shit all over their user experience like this? Even for a tech-savvy guy like me, it's frustrating. I can only imagine the average user. Samsung, you were hell-bent on copying Apple this year. Ever pause for a second to wonder if Apple would ever dream of shipping a device with 2 calendars built in? Not to mention performance. I had to end up returning my Note 5 because, embarrassingly enough, my first-gen Moto G ran most apps with less stutter. Hangouts runs like shit on the Note 5, but was butter smooth on a phone with 1/4 of the RAM and 1/3 the processing speed, because Moto is smart enough to leave the software to the software companies. Sammy, if you make shitty software, and kudos to finally admitting it, by the way, maybe instead of sinking all this time and effort into reinventing a worse wheel, you should keep to hardware and leave the software to the multi-billion-dollar software company you've been partnering with for the last 5 years, whose software you're shipping on every device you've built your empire with. Oh, and bring back removable batteries and SD card slots. It was one of the few things differentiating you from Apple and the slew of Chinese handset makers currently kicking your ass. I'm Tom Oliver, and this has been 3 Minute Tech, technology discussion without the bullshit. Like this video if you thought it was good, and subscribe if you want to see more like it.